right, we are starting off today with some news about Zev Shlasinger, the other Z, and the Z in Z-Man games. Zev has worked at WizKids for many years, but he'll be leaving the company on June 1st, 2023, after 7 years working there. The idea was that WizKids' focus from catalog building, which is what Zev did there, basically, find new games, usher in new ideas, new productions. Well, WizKids is shifting from doing that to sort of supporting the things they have now.
Right.
And therefore, Zev is going to move on. So, Zev is probably the best thing he's known for besides, well, being the original owner and creator of Z-Man Games, is he's found quite a few big hits in his time. He's the one who first published Pandemic, for example, a huge global hit now. And so we wish him all sorts of luck wherever he ends up next. I'm sure whoever gets him is going to be a very lucky company.
Yep.
So good luck to Zev.
Thanks to Todd for the super chat as well.
Oh, here we go.
So,
look at that. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, next up. Let's talk about Spiel Essen. This is news about... This is a little bit of a nebulous piece of news, but they're basically talking about how at the Spiel this year in Germany, at Essen, they are going to be restructuring the halls. Okay, now if you've never been there, this doesn't really make any sense to you. And at first I thought, are they talking about physical construction here? No, it doesn't sound like that's what they're talking about. What they're mentioning is flow through the convention itself, okay? So the idea is they want to focus on orientation for visitors and help them find the booths they're looking for quickly. So they are going to be grouping companies based on what is being offered, is the idea. So in the past, that was sort of mixed around. You could find a big company in one hall, a different company that was also big and offered similar games in a very different hall. So now you're going to have, what did they say here? They had like, implement this plan in which they're going to look to see which hall fits you best. So this is also going to change where publishers end up. If you've been to Spiel in the past, you know that there are established places where some companies are. That might change. They are changing where companies are going to end up. So they're
going to be like, hey, this is what, you're this kind of company, we offer you this here. And obviously still, I assume, choose your booth. But I wonder what that's going to do for flow, because some are more popular than others. So are some halls now going to be more crowded, where others more spacious? It was kind of pretty generally the same in all the halls in the past.
Right. So it'll mess with flow. It'll also mess with... competition's going to be interesting because you'll be closer to people that offer similar things to you. Like, for example, they were saying here, there will be a large section for simple to upscale family games, whatever that means, children's games, light to medium expert games. Another segment is planned around tabletop games, miniatures games, role-playing games, and trading card games. Finally, there will be areas for expert to core gamer games. So that means if you have a trading card game at Spiel, they will put you right next to the other people that have trading card games. And I think that's good for the consumer, but the company's going to be like, oh, I'm right up against like competition. You know what I mean?
But what about the one that, because I know when you try to when I organize things in a database and you label, so many things fit in different labels. And the same with companies.
That's what I was going to say. What about these publishers that have a range?
You could name several that are just like, where would you put them? They look out of place anywhere. I mean, or that you require them to buy a different booth at different areas?
I don't know how they're going to manage that, The one I'm really curious about, this is something I love to do when I go to Spiel, is there's a lot of vendors that are not the company selling their games. It's a little booth covered like to the ceiling with games, just games they're selling. They're a store. Are all those places going to be together? Because if so, that's actually pretty cool for me. I can just go there and just shop, just go up and down all of these places. There are a bunch, and they are everywhere. They're scattered everywhere.
But I like them kind of being scattered everywhere, because then on your way you would also pass something that I never would have gone to.
Yes.
You know, if you're going to go now and you really like TCGs, for example, maybe you'll go right to that hall, and that's kind of all you see because you spend so much more time there now. And you miss all these little ones. So this is going to be interesting.
Yes.
Also a logistical nightmare. I can't imagine being a company and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to offer you this hall. And they're like, no, this one over here fits us better. You know, like, is this a negotiation at all? Who's making this decision of who?
And that's a good point, too, in the fact that, like, I haven't been to Essen, I've been to Jinn Con a lot, but it's just the cross-marketing that happens just by walking by a booth.
Right.
You would have never wanted to play that style of game, and you're like, huh, like Monster Apocalypse or one of those battle games. I walk by, I'm like, maybe sometime I'll try it. You know, but I would never actually go into that area intentionally.
Right.
I would avoid that.
Or like in a selfish way, like people that don't know us and walked by us on their way to Asmodee or, you know, wherever it may be. And, you know, they see, oh, what is this? Yeah. Oh, these are, you know, little dice meeples. These are cute. You know, I know at Spiel and Gen Con, there's been a lot of conversations that I've had with people about that, you know, in my booth hours. That's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if discoverability is going to go down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we will see what it looks like this year. It'll be an interesting year over there. Huh. All right, next up, we're talking about Greed Quest, coming out here from Steve Jackson Games. This is a new game coming out into retail June 28th, so right around the corner. It is an unpredictable game where players race to the bottom of a dungeon to grab the hoard of treasure. Getting to the bottom is easy, but actually making it out is another story entirely, of course. Everybody has their own deck of cards they utilize to impede the progress of the other players while trying to get out of the dungeon first. So this has Phil Foglio artwork, who's done artwork for the Magic the Gathering, and Girl Genius creator is Phil Foglio. So that's the main thing you'll know Phil Foglio from. The game's designer is Joseph McEnvoy, and it's a game for 3 to 6 players. Ages 8 and up, plays in about 30 minutes. Retail, $29.95. So there you go. It's a Steve Jackson game. Right. If you enjoy that style of game, think Munchkin-esque kind of game, then here is another one for you. Those characters in that cover, though, whew, there's all sorts of craziness happening right there.
Yes. There's a lot to unpack right there.
There's a lot to unpack is the best way to put it.
A lot of, nah, thanks.
All right, next up, we're talking about Terraria. Terraria? Is that how you say it?
Terraria.
I don't know. It's based on a video game. A very popular video game that is now getting a board game adaptation. Oh, okay, so this is Terraria is a little bit like Minecraft. It's 2D though. Okay. And like I said, it's a very popular video game that they are adapting. A popular game of mining and crafting. And they're going to be doing a 4-player co-op board game that looks to recreate some of the more familiar parts of the video game and replace others so that they'll work well on the tabletop. So the idea here is, among the parts of Terraria that the original developer Relogic promised will appear in the board game are the game's exploration of various biomes, grassy woods, more punishing environments with lava, corruption, and more. The ability for players to progress their characters, construct your home base out of collector resources, and a combat system retooled from the tabletop, of course, for the tabletop, where you'll encounter tougher foes. So this is going to have, it's a similar art style a bit. It's a little refreshed, the art style. And the idea here is that they're hoping for like an open-ended kind of nature to the game. It's a huge project, the company said, and not one that we take lightly. They are looking to bring it to a crowdfunding platform. No news yet as to where it's coming. And it says they do not expect it to release in 2023. No kidding. We could have probably guessed on that one. So Terraria, the board game. If you're a big fan of the video game, and I know a lot of folks are, there you go. That's coming.
Do you know the game?
I know of it. I've never played
it.
So there we go. Next up. Let's talk about Jinn, baby. This is from designer Benjamin Schwer, who is the creator behind a couple of fantastic games, A Crown of Imara, and even more impressive for me, Hadara. Okay? So this is a game that they are co-working on with, let me see, No, I'm sorry. It's their design with illustrator Dennis Lohausen and publisher Hall Games. So in this one, you're a young member of a magic guild guarding a mysterious source of power from jinns that have come to claim it. There you go. You have to trap them in special bottles. It's a Euro game. Who are they kidding?
Super
Let's
cute
see,
cover.
what else?
Yeah,
Discover secret passages.
And the meeples.
The meeples are looking pretty
They're
sweet
cool,
right there.
yeah.
That makes me want to play it. I mean, I'm like...
The board, I mean,
So
just that
shallow.
one shot of the pieces look really, really cool.
Right.
The game is over when all 6 of the boss Jinns have been captured. Score points for the ones you have captured, and the player with the most points wins. This is going to be a Euro game through and through. If you know Benjamin Short Designs, you kind of know what you're getting. I'm hoping that it is just interesting and clever, closer to Hadara than Crown of Imara, though I like both. Crown of Imara was a little drier. But anyway, you can expect to see this at Essen Spiel in October, and hopefully you'll be able to find it once they rework everything.
That's really interesting.
So there we go. Next up, let's talk about Rats.
Rats.
Ooh, let's do.
Rats of Wistar. This is, rats are in. Have you noticed?
I have.
Like in board games, rats are in. Mice and rats.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I still in?
I mean, there's the race, the moon one.
First rat.
First rat, that's it.
Ratus.
What else?
That's an
There's
older
been
one.
like lately a few rat
Really?
games, yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, this is a
Haven't
new game from co-designed by Simone Luciani, incredibly well-known designer from Zolkin, Grand Austria Hotel, Gollum. So again, heavy Euro games.
Wow.
And then Danilo Sabia, who designed Wendake. Or Wendaki, I'm not sure how you pronounce
yeah.
that.
Wendake?
This is from Cranio Creations. And it is a game in which the players are one of the rats who helped organize an escape from the Wistar Institute. You are the head of your family, competing with the other family heads to lead the colony. Compete in a 5-day challenge in order to earn points by building beds, excavating rooms, and solving missions within the farm. Welcome host mice into your family, build new inventions, and claim achievements. At the end of the game, the player who has accumulated the most victory points is the winner. I love how Eurogame descriptions are always like really, they sound fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And then the end is always like, oh, you know what I mean? It is like, do this, claim achievements, reach for the stars, discover new elements, and whoever has the most points is the winner.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how they always sound.
That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell it's a Euro. Yeah.
Anyway, this looks fantastic. Like, the artwork is gorgeous. I'm assuming it's going to be a very intricate Euro-style game.
Yeah.
And it does not, I don't have any information here as to when you can expect this, but if I had to guess, probably Essen as well. So there you go, Rats of Wistar. All right, let's talk about Alexander Pfister, a very well-known designer, but we're not talking about a board game here. He's done Great Western Trail, Isle of Skye, Port Royale. Oh my goods, lots of very well-known games. Well, he's now a video game designer as well, because Demon Loop here is a turn-based loop and deck-building adventure strategy game that is available right now for early access on Valve's Steam, okay, on the PC. So in Demon Loop, you're taking on an ever-changing loop where you must protect humans from the monsters that were their friends in the last loop by building a deck, recruiting villagers to become strong enough to solve the mystery of the Demon Loop. The game will remain in early access for about a year. It will be expanded and with already planned features. Community feedback will be taken into account. You know how early access works. Pfister has stated in a tweet that the game will have a $15 price tag when it's officially released. So definitely indie price. That's very interesting. There's a lot of roguelite deck building kind of games in which you're doing a lot of loops. There's quite a few of those kinds of games.
Yeah.
It's a very popular video game genre right now. So it's nice to see. Usually the people behind these games are not well-established board game designers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's interesting, and it makes a lot of sense, honestly, that it would be someone like that who's done a lot of things on the tabletop, who's behind the scenes on something like this. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not expecting him to be the one coding the stuff, but he made the game.
Well, it's interesting to see that kind of opposite arc. I mean, we've seen a lot of video games becoming board games. And so, yes, this isn't a board game he made, but kind of that same thing. That, I don't know, just to see that flow going both ways, maybe a little bit more than what we've seen.
Yeah, it's a really neat type of video game, so I'd love to check this one out. Hopefully it does really well in early access and becomes a robust game.
In a year for early access.
Yeah,
that was quite a while.
They put games in early access forever.
Really?
Yeah. So a year's actually not that long.
Huh.
All right. Let's move on over to a little restoration games news.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited
Crossbows and Catapults. Have you guys played Crossbows and Catapults back in the day?
No.
No, but
You've seen it probably,
I've
though,
seen
right?
Yeah.
I have
It's like
wanted to play
the
it.
old ads and stuff. Yeah. So
This looks good.
This looks so good.
So they are going to be re-implementing this. Announced. This was, I guess, originally announced in 2021 that it would be on their list of upcoming projects, I should say. So it's coming to Kickstarter this June, the restored version of the original beloved 1983 game. They've made sure to preserve its nostalgic charm while enhancing the gameplay for a modern audience, exactly what restoration tends to do. Gone are the days of rubber bands that can dry out and break. Each weapon now has a unique firing profile, providing a fresh and dynamic gameplay experience. The spring-powered catapult offers consistent firing power, while the launch angle adjuster allows for precise aiming. The pinch-fire crossbow offers flat trajectories, enabling low-angle attacks that require skillful shot control. And introducing the new trebuchet and ballista, each equipped with exciting features to amplify the thrill of battle. So if you back the game,
so good,
you'll get 2 special metallic-colored ammo discs for free. If you ain't firing discs, if you ain't firing metallic-colored discs.
Yes.
These unique additions will give you a special game boost and make your victory shine even brighter. So there you go. If you are excited for Crossbows and Catapults to come back with the restoration treatment, keep an eye out on this one, folks.
I'm so excited about this.
Do you guys like Catapult Kingdoms?
I do. I like that a lot. So I played
cute.
a lot of that, actually, because my son really, really likes it. But I think in looking at this Crossbows and Catapults, I like the extra steps that they're taking to make it more of a game, maybe. I mean, at the end of the day, it's silly. I throw stuff at you, you throw stuff at me. But again, taking the rubber bands out and giving you a little bit more of that precision, because it is going to have like little pins so you can really fine tune the weapons. And it sounds like putting more game behind it. And I like that, so it's not just I shoot, then you shoot, then I shoot, then you shoot. Oh, wait, I have a card that gives me one special. It's going to have a little more robust.
And that's what they do, really. They are good at that, at keeping something nostalgic and bringing it up to date. Where you play and you still feel like, I can see the original essence is in here.
Right.
But much more playable now.
Right. And I mean, I think they got the license, 2 years ago for this or something, 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. And they've been working and developing since that. And I'm like, I like that they're, again, putting that time into it on the back end. So by the time the Kickstarter comes here soon, we're going to be able to see not just a vision, but actually what they've been able to bring to fruition. So
Right, exactly.
I'm excited about it.
All right, next up, let's talk about Ravensburger. Now, this is not the news article you're expecting to hear. That we will talk more about next week as the news is very much developing still. So stay tuned for that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Ravensburger, who is an acclaimed maker of toys and puzzles, has revealed a new couple of products for their Disney Villainous line. These two are going to be Disney Villainous Introduction to Evil, which is this set features Maleficent, Captain Hook, Ursula, and Prince John. It's a limited edition version of the game that features streamlined gameplay that's crafted to help first-time players. So this limited edition, Target-exclusive game includes a new box design. Ursula's on it, lustrous movers, some rainbow foil treatment on the packaging. But the interesting thing is that they are specifically making this as an introduction to the system, because I do think some of the Villainous things, whether it's Disney or whatever, Marvel, whatever, they can be a little like, what's going on?
Well, we talked about that a while back.
We did.
Games that beginner gamers grab and they regret it. And this is one of the tops of it.
Yeah, like it depends what character you pick. You might have yourself a clunky play the first time you play. So I'm glad that there will be something, and hopefully it's very obviously indicated on the package that says, hey, start here.
Right.
This is easier. These are characters that are good to start with.
So
that's one of them. The other one then is Disney Villainous Filled with Fright. And this one has Oogie Boogie. And let me see. that's going to be available October 2023 in time for Halloween, of course. Now, besides those two things being available, they're also introducing the idea of a tournament. So they're going to be doing a tournament, first ever Disney Villainous tournament, I guess in celebration of both the game, these new products, and commemorating 100 years of Disney, which you can see on the cover of the Introduction to Evil there, Disney 100 logo in the lower left-hand corner there.
Yeah.
So there you go. If you are into Villainous, keep an eye out for these later on. And if you're not and you want to check it out, then it sounds like that Introduction to Evil is the way to go.
I'm curious how much they've changed. Like, you know, the other one, Marvel, does the one Fate deck. Villainous has the separate ones. If they're adapting it that much, because for me, that's why I like the Marvel one over the Disney one.
The single combined bad stuff deck, yeah. I wonder. I'm assuming they're not doing that. They'll keep it separate because you've got to be able to plug in the rest of the stuff.
Right, it's a system at this point.
Yeah. All right, next up. Pandasaurus is coming out with 2 big box games that are coming to retail August and September with copies available at Gen Con. I'm very psyched for these. So the first one is coming out...
2 depressing games.
It's coming out August 9th. And that one is After Us. It's 2083 and nature has reclaimed the planet. After humanity has been extinct for several decades, so that's coming soon.
I know, wow.
Heads up.
The apes continue to evolve. They gather in tribes, develop themselves, master the objects left behind by the humans, and advance in the quest for knowledge. As the leader of one of these tribes, it's your responsibility to set your fellow apes on the path to collective intelligence. Planet of the Monkeys. Each turn, players will draw 4 ape cards from their deck and arrange them in an assembly line. You're completing... it's like this sort of arranging game in which you're putting out cards, you're completing frames that generate resources, earn you points, grant you powers. So it's like, you know, manipulating the order in which you put these cards next to each other.
Kind of like the Lost Expedition, where like
ish, I
like
guess,
where you have resources versus like good, bad, like interesting.
Yeah, I guess I think it's all good, but yeah.
Oh, is it all good? Okay.
Anyway, it's one I'm very, very excited for. Not least of all because of that artwork.
I was going to say that.
I like how Pandasaurus just bookends civilization. There's dinosaurs before, and then afterwards we're going to have these kind of animals.
They do, right?
They're like, people are in the middle. Let's forget about them. It's just,
forget it.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the crossover. Dinosaurs versus apes.
Oh, yes.
That's happening. Okay, and then the other one releasing on the 6th of September will be Emerge. New islands have emerged from the ocean. And as scientists, you must research the new developing ecosystems present there. Watch the islands on the board grow in 3 dimensions. As you learn more about them, add colorful plants and animals to each one. Each round, you're going to roll some dice. You're going to be collecting research, making discoveries. We start with the same research board, but throughout the game, you'll be able to modify your own board and change what you're researching. 8 rounds, score points based on how everything flourished, the biodiversity of your islands, and your research objectives. Very cool as well. I love
really
that cover.
That.
I love the way both of these look, and I'm there to check both of these out.
Absolutely.
So, awesome. All right, and then we've got, let me see, there's 2 pieces of news. Next up, let's talk about Smurfs. Let's talk about Smurfs, baby.
I was waiting for it. There it is. You did not disappoint.
Yeah, thank you. I'm nothing if not predictable. There's a Smurfs tabletop game that's on the way. And if that's all I knew, I'll tell you right now, like, oh, it's a Smurfs game about Smurfs who are smurfing things. I'd be like, cool. I'm not like super into Smurfs.
Yeah.
No.
However, this is from the designers of such games as 7 Wonders, Dead Cells, the board game.
This is fantastic.
Sea Salt and Paper. I mean, like...
Ages 7 plus
This is from, that group, that Antoine Boza, Ludovic Montblanc, Théo Rivère. I mean, there's Corentin Lebrot. It's a big group of French designers.
Really?
All of them really incredible designers. So this is going to be releasing next year. Let me see if I can find a little... they're also the ones who worked in Draftosaurus. This team did Draftosaurus.
Really?
They usually it's funny because normally it's 4 dudes. But they all get together and tend to make smaller games than they each make on their own.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
yeah.
Interesting, yeah.
So Anyway, so
Which
the
is
idea
cool,
here
maybe.
is...
It's kind of hard to hold yourself back maybe in your own design, but others kind of check and balance it.
Maybe,
you know?
yeah.
That's interesting.
So the players will need to gather resources, seek out missing Smurfs, and build inventions in order to restore the village, while also needing to outfox Gargamel and his mean sidekick Azrael. Each playable Smurf will have a different set of skills, of course, with up to 5 players able to play the roughly half-hour game at once, or a single person in solo mode. This is going to have a crowdfunding campaign in October, marking the 65th anniversary of the creation of the blue characters. So I did not know that. 65 years old, the Smurfs.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew they were really old. I think
She looks good for 65.
No, not too bad. My only, I think, my only concern with this is it says ages 7+, so it is going to be that kid to family weight game, but it definitely seems to be more kind of nostalgic for people. Like, you get into this possibly if you like the Smurfs, if you grew up watching it. I mean, is your kid watching it right now? Like, is anybody really? I don't know. Maybe it is still wildly popular.
Say like 30 to 50.
It seems like a small game. I mean, it says 1 to 5 players, 25 to 35 minutes, ages 7 and up.
Which is about like Draftosaurus, though.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking this might be a very small game. Yeah.
And if that's the case, if it is a little filler game for people who like the Smurfs, then that's pretty slam dunk.
Yeah. Right. I'm not sure. Again. That confounds me, though, that they're going to a crowdfunding platform. Like, it seems very small. Can't you just put this out? But we'll see. I'm speculating. I know nothing about it. Maybe it'll be a giant dungeon crawl.
Or roll it right.
A rolling Smurf.
Yes.
It would actually be a Smurf and Smurf, I guess,
It
right?
It would,
I think we need to
be.
We're
going to move on.
Let's, probably good time.
Okay, new Smurfing news. All right, next up, and our last piece of news today, you heard about this already, but Gloomhaven is coming out with a second edition. They've had a major announcement here for a second edition. So the idea here is that they have reworked. They're going to be launching, let me see, they're now due to launch on BackerKit June 20th. That's something else, I think. Gloomhaven second edition. The crowdfunding. This is so confusingly written. Who wrote this copy? This new edition will feature rebalanced and redesigned mercenary classes, items, scenarios, brand new artwork, newly written narrative and events, updated minis, a new faction-based reputation system, and more. The developers have spent the last 6 years reading the community's feedback on all of the Gloomhaven games, so they knew exactly what they wanted to achieve with this project. We hope you enjoy playing Gloomhaven 2nd Edition as much as we enjoyed working on it. It should be compatible with both first and the upcoming RPG, and plans for a late 2024 release, so this is coming to crowdfunding.
I wonder if they'll go to the Jaws of the Lion flip book as opposed to map tiles.
As far as I know, they said no. That product might or will, I forget which, be available later. Which blew my mind, because when I read the original news for this, that was the only thing I wanted to know.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, you could like half the box size too, almost.
Big time.
Unless you're getting the minis and all that. But like, that's like the
one thing.
one
As far as I know,
thing.
from what I read, this is not here now, they said no. But that might be available. I would love for them to change their mind on that.
Or is that one of the things they're dangling like for the Kickstarter? Be like,
Maybe.
no, but wait.
That's possible.
You know?
Give me the acrylic minis.
I would do acrylic standees for
do acrylic
Gloomhaven.
standees.
I don't think I would
For
go
the baddies.
minis.
For the baddies, right.
Yeah,
right,
oh
right,
yeah.
Anyway,
for sure.
the main thing here that I think is very interesting is the fact that it sounds like no part of this was left untouched. They tightened and changed and shifted just about everything.
Because they said there's no upgrade. It's all new. So you can't upgrade from one to the other.
Right,
Right,
it's compatible if you have the other.
We can't give you like an upgrade pack because it's too much.
Yeah.
You need the whole game.
It's just been revamped from the ground floor.
So there you go, folks. Keep an eye out on that if you want to check out some Gloomhaven 2nd Edition. And that's going to do it for us. That is the news.